So we all went to the retreat, what, 2017 or was that 2018?
I think 2018 in June. Yeah.
Since then, right, it's been crazy because like how the Paraline works on the influential level.
Mhm.
Um, like the prayer line is connected to kind of like ET and like the I call it the ETA movement.
Right.
Well, so getting connected with like Quest, getting connected with like you guys, BK, Ryan, all those guys online, Jeremy, even Patrick P, um, Barry, all those guys, like everybody has their thing that they're doing, but um the biggest thing like for me has been just growth in a sense. So
Mhm.
I'm actually Royce connected me with uh ETA in a sense. So I'm gonna go take the personality assessment course up in
Okay.
Flint, not Flint, Lansing. Um, so like I'm gonna go do like a 2 day course that like the ET has the like the passport assessment, and then so that I can actually be able to do coaching on my own and actually
Okay.
yeah. So that's what I meant by like life is funny because it's like you're around something for so long or like around an environment with people like that, it produces you or it forces you to level up.
Right.
And so like that's what I meant by like the prayer line is so influential in that sense. It's like, well, yeah, like why aren't you doing X and Y Z? Like this is
Right.
if this is what you consider, as as a gift, why aren't you doing that? Like
Yeah.
it
I
really
know.
challenged me.
Yeah. I know definitely for me, it's like I got excited about it and I seem to get excited about things quickly, but then
Right.
it kind of tapers
Like
off a
fades.
little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
yay. And then
It's like, oh.
I had a conversation with BK and he's very good at like making points. Like he's very good at like
That Joker's good.
highlighting
That joke. Oh my
like
gosh. He's like,
and I
bro.
just
Every
felt
time I
like
talk to BK, I'm just
yeah,
like, dude, like I need you in my pocket. Like I
yeah.
need you in my pocket continuously.
It feels
Yeah.
like I guess sometimes people say like, oh, they just got baptized or you had like a moment, you're like, okay, oof, I'm gonna go run
Yeah.
through a wall or
Yeah.
something. But like I talked to him and I had the idea of okay, I want to do a podcast kind of on this on like just having conversations with people that I know and
Right.
like mostly I thought about people that I work with and something similar to dirty jobs where it's like okay, I worked in construction and for the most part it's like you do a lot of the work that's in the background. We work in remote areas where you don't really interact with the everyday person and
Hmm.
then a lot of times with that like somebody sees you from afar and they're just like oh you're that person like if you see
Also,
the
that's
garbage
what you do. Yeah.
yeah it's
Yeah.
like oh so that's what you do but it's like wait what is it really that you do and like you try to explain it but you can't really explain it and I'm like well
Yeah.
a lot of times there's a lot more to people than just their jobs and it's like
Right.
it got me thinking about this thing at hype and hustle like I wrote a little post about it like years back and I was like oh that's cute like I wrote it and I was happy with myself kind of patted myself on the back but then it wasn't until
Hmm.
like I think after I wrote it, I maybe came across like Gary Vee's video and he was
Hmm.
talking about like this thing about hype and hustle where people get really psyched up about like you get ready for the weekend, like you're dreading going to work. And
Right.
it's like everybody kind of lives for like the high highs.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
the thing
Yeah.
that seems to be with that, it's like, okay, a lot of times we talk about the highlights and you don't talk so much about like the everyday. And it's like
Right.
the more I thought about it, I was like, well, it's not that there's anything wrong with the highlights because like you need highlights and or things to look forward to. And
Hmm.
I didn't want to sound too much like a contradiction, but it's like I think from just talking with people and just having like a conversation that flows to where it's like, okay, there's a structure to it, but it's not apparent where it's like, okay, here's in your face. Now I'm going to stop for this segment. Now I'm going to do this because for me, even like before you called, I was like, crap, I don't know. Maybe I should go get the book. I said I was gonna get my notes, but I can't find my. It's just like, okay, stop looking for it. Stop it. Just pick up the phone and talk. It's like,
Right.
okay, hey man, how's it going? And it's like kind of realizing that, okay, even though I'm kind of struggling to start, it's like the whole thing, like starting something, it's just as important,
Right.
no matter if like you've never done this before, and then you see somebody that's been doing it for a while and they kind of like reemphasize the same things. And
Right. Yeah. 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 Because I mean, honestly, that's what intrigued me about it because I was so worried about a format. I mean, in my head, I'm like, okay, there is a format because I listen to, ET, uh, uh,
the secrets to success.
his
Yeah.
podcast, right? So like, I'm like, oh, C has a format that he goes, he has this, like his little funny segments,
Right.
but like I go back to um like the early episodes, I realized, like these dudes been friends for a long time.
Right.
Like
Right.
Carl didn't really honestly start even speaking on a podcast until like almost a second year.
Yeah.
Because he would interject or like only if asked something,
Mhm.
but then the second year, like he just started like actually freely
Right.
talking. He came at his show, a lot, and so I'm like, it might take a year for me to get used to actually asking questions um, in an unformatted way that it flows, or I might have to get structured and actually kind of mentally have a format in my head that I want it to flow like,
Right.
and just use that and just have that come out naturally versus having to like sit there and be like, okay, so next we're gonna do
Yeah.
this, and kind of just transition from like segue into little other things, kind of like even if we were segueing now, it's like, hey, okay, hey, so let's segue, into the Zoom section of this whole entire
Yeah.
podcast, and like, how to use Zoom, how do you, so like it's in my head, I overcomplicate that, but
Definitely.
it's really that easy,
Right.
right? It's really honestly that easy because we talked about the whole like my teaching thing for a while, and for me, because it kept bringing back certain memories or certain things, I was able to actually expound more on that.
Mhm.
But like, I've done an interview with somebody who, they gave very short answers. They
Yeah.
didn't like. It was hard for me to draw that that depth from them. So
Right.
like I'd be like, so you did this, and then what happened?
Yeah.
So I would keep I'll keep having. I was like, okay. I was like, oh wow. So okay. So not only do I gotta understand the person who I'm interviewing,
Yeah.
that's also another reason why I'm taking that assessment course,
Got you.
because because I want to be able to actually there's a lot of interesting people who post funny things, who are naturally funny until they get in front of a microphone or in front of a camera, and they're just like,
Right.
uh and so finding those people who aren't afraid to actually still be the same person
Yeah.
is difficult, but you're not going to find them until you seek them out.
Right. Right.
So like that's what I got to do a better job as. Okay, like if I'm going to have a guest on, I got to study the guest,
Mhm.
look at are they comfortable speaking on not necessarily controversial issues, but are they comfortable speaking their mind
Yeah.
without fear of judgment? Are they able to actually explain something without sounding not necessarily sounding crazy, but
Mhm.
like are they able to be coherent while they're explaining something?
Got you.
Um, can they give me feedback? How is our
Mhm.
energy? Do we feed off each other? Because there's those people who you have like in real life, like you could go out and just laugh and laugh because that like you guys feed off each other. It's like, there's those inside jokes that you guys have. There's those things that you guys have. So like those kind of keep the ball rolling,
Right.
and that's kind of what Et, Carl, and C have on their podcast. So that's what makes it so easy for them to be able to kind of gel.
Yeah.
Um, and and then I listened to another podcast with it's called the Jordan Harbinger Show, where he brings on a lot of interesting
Mhm.
people, uh, you know, like thought leaders. He talks to them, authors, people who are in the in the space of social engineering.
Mhm.
Um, so like l- hearing that podcast is way different than the Secrets of Success podcast, but it still flows.
Right.
He has a format that he goes with because he's asking specific questions to get specific
Mhm.
answers. Um, and then hearing the Gary V
Yeah.
show, you know, he's I call him the loose cannon of just like in your face, like, you know, take it or leave it. That's who he is.
Right.
So his personality is up here. So that's what you're gonna get. And a lot of time, like it almost doesn't matter whoever he's interacting with. They have to bring forth the same, almost the same energy,
Yeah.
because if they don't, he's gonna drown them out,
Right. Right.
right? And so it's like, you know, hearing all those different podcasts, you know, and hearing NPR podcasts, like it gave me a better balance of, okay, I don't need to be one way. I don't need to be. I just gotta be able to understand who is in front of me, who my audience are, you know, or who my audience is. Like I went from IG lives to now doing more Facebook lives because I realized that, you know, Sunday nights
Mhm.
there's more people who are you know sitting at home chilling on Facebook
Right.
than there are on IG.
Gotcha.
Like the people who are on IG are not gonna stop whatever they're doing for 20 minutes and listen to a live,
Right.
right? Because as soon as you scroll,
Mhm.
like that live is gone.
Right. Right.
So it's like if you're on IG, you're literally scrolling and liking. You're not really like there's not a whole lot of it, you know.
That's true.
Like you might comment, like you might carry on a couple conversations, but that's really about it. But like on Facebook, people are on Facebook to read certain things, to read posts, to write people.
Yeah.
So they're just like more willing to like interact. So which I've gotten more interaction from Facebook than IG. So, but I do 15 minutes on IG now, and then I do 15 minutes on Facebook to kind of cover all my bases.
Gotcha.
Um,
How
yeah.
often do you do
So
that?
yeah, I do that every Sunday.
Okay.
Right now I'm going through the John Maxwell's book, making making today count,
Okay.
or make today
Right.
count. So it's a short read. It's a short book, but I'm going through it like, you know, a chapter a week.
Okay.
Um, and so I realized for me that creates consistency,
Mhm.
and that, you know, and that creates continuity in the sense that it's consistent because it's every Sunday.
Right.
It creates continuity that, um, you know, people know, hey, we're on chapter. You know, he's talking about chapter 4.
Mhm.
You know, last week he talked about chapter 3.
Right.
So next week is gonna be talking about chapter 5. So it's like, you know, if I want to listen or involve myself in conversation, I can read ahead or I can read or right along with them,
Mhm.
and you know, and understand what he's talking about. So like that's why like continuity and consistency, I think people get confused. It's not the same.
Mhm.
It's consistency is habitual. Like let me try to explain it in the way that's in my head.
Yeah.
Consistency is uh staying on time every time, like no matter what.
Right.
Continuity is like the information has to flow from the last information to this information to the next information,
Okay.
because you can stay consistent at doing something, but it doesn't mean that the information is going to be the
Right.
same.
Right.
So I can stay consistent on doing my podcast, but my information doesn't flow from 1 to 2 to 3 to
Right.
4. It
It doesn't
just,
have to be like a
yeah,
series that you're watching. Like, okay, like last episode, this happened.
right,
It's like
exactly,
now this time.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly. So yeah,
I guess
yeah, but yeah, like
that's a good point that you
yeah,
make, because I think that's one of the first things I kind of noticed about different podcasts, is that like each one of them seems to be episodic. It's like they have topics, and then like you just kind of focused on that. And the one podcast that I've been listening to a lot heavy, and it's a lot longer than most podcasts, is the Joe Rogan podcast. And I'm
okay,
kind of
yeah,
familiar with him from like watching UFC, seeing him on like Fear
hmm,
Factor before, and like I clicked on one or two of his interviews, because like on his podcast, because it's like he'll just start the conversation like, "Hey, what's up, man?" It's like, "Huh, that's how you just started like that?" It's like, "Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?"
like no intro
Yeah.
music,
Well, I
no
mean, like,
no horns,
but the
no.
thing is,
Yeah,
like, I noticed that there's a difference, like, when I watch it on YouTube versus like if I listen to it on like the podcast.
like the
Yeah,
audio, right?
like with
Yeah.
the audio version, that he does like all the sponsors ahead of time, and then he'll play like the music and everything. But if you're watching it on YouTube, it's just like, yep, and we're live. Like, I think he's
Yep.
probably done like
Yep.
1,000 of them over time because he does like he's his background's in mixed martial arts, and then he's
Hmm.
also a comedian.
He's a yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. So like
with that
he's got
with
like
that being his
the.
bread and butter, I didn't know that about him. So like from watching that, I got to learn, okay, like this guy isn't just like the commentator, but he did kickboxing. And then as he did
Hmm.
kickboxing, like at the same time he was a comedian. He started out in Boston, moved out to the West Coast, and then kind of worked there with like Richard Pryor, like those guys. Like so it's
Hmm.
like they
Yep.
go back and kind of just hearing him describe like his journey and kind of listening to other people. He'll bring fighters on, he'll bring comedians on, he'll bring actors on, like scientists, like people of all different backgrounds. And his thing's always like, I just want to have a like good conversations with people that I find interesting. So he might have like a journalist on talking about a project that they did, and it's like he may have researched them ahead of time, where it's like it might be somebody he's known over the years, and kind of bringing them
Hmm.
in and letting them explain themselves, especially if like even if they have opposing ideas, he just tries to be like, okay, like explain that a little bit. But it's like
Right.
you
Yeah.
watch him and it's like he's constantly letting the other person speak. And I think that's kind of the thing that I got from um, at least the interview type format, because the more and more I see it from different angles, it's like, okay, you have like where you can interview somebody one on one, but like sometimes
Hmm.
when people are allowed to just go for a minute and like
Right.
express themselves, you kind of just like draw these commonalities. And like
Right.
what's
Yeah.
funny is
Yeah.
that like I kept slacking off trying to watch his podcast or listen to it. And like as I'm driving, I'm sitting here like, dang it, why is this guy talking about what I'm trying to do right now? It's like he's calling me out. He's calling me out. It's like, okay, I
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
can't take
That's
any more
yeah. That's literally what it feels like. Yep.
short.
Yeah. All the way down to the team, man. But I do got to get going
Yeah,
though.
understood.
But yeah, like if at all possible, just let me know. Like I don't know if you got a chance to record a whole thing. Um,
No, this
I
this was
mean
the
we
first time with the Zoom. Just kind of trying it. I'm gonna
okay.
see what the audio's like, and if I can send it to you, I'll send it to you, so you can
All right, perfect.
hear it back. Like I was kind of playing with
Yeah,
the
let's do
settings a
that.
little bit, and like it says it gives you the option to like separate the files, so it might have like your audio and my audio different. So maybe
Oh man,
somebody like
I
watching
got to
it.
do that more. I got to start using Zoom more. I got to start using Zoom a whole lot more
Gotcha.
because then I realize that I can be able to do both. So if you learn anything new, bro, teach
I
me.
will.
I mean, show me how to do it because like that'll be a new platform, for me to be able to use. So
Right, right.
I'll be glad to learn.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta take the wife out for her birthday. Her birthday's tomorrow, so happy 29th birthday to her for the fourth time in a row. Uh, yeah, so yeah, man. But yeah, I appreciate you calling me, man. I appreciate you having me on here. But yeah, let's get back together and rap,
All
man.
right.
I can't wait to go to another one and do another one, bro.
Always a pleasure talking with you. Take care.
All right, man. I'll see you later, bro.
Peace.